Hello, and welcome to Brand Clarity by Visions2images, where we focus on strategy and business development for entrepreneurs at all different levels through branding and digital marketing techniques. Susie Liberatore is the founder and art director of Visions2images Creative Services, LLC. For the last decade, she has personally been instrumental in bridging gaps between the global digital market and neighborhood locations for some of the biggest brands around. Growth is possible for even a single location with the right professional branding techniques and Susie's signature strategies of Visions2images. Stand out from your competitors and bring your visions to life while watching your sales skyrocket. Your host for this is Susie Liberatore, owner of Visions2images. Hello, everybody. Oh my goodness. It has been a minute since I did a new episode. For those of you who do not know, I was sick for like 3 weeks and I caused myself to really be stressed and worn down. And that's not good for my soul, right? Like, it's just not good. So I basically was on and off, trying to put out a smile, trying to get through everything. And then I really burned myself out to the point that I had to get on antibiotics. It was not COVID. It was just a very bad sinus infection, but it basically was, oh my goodness, impossible the last week to do things. And, I lost my voice. There was so much happening. I'm so glad to be back and kind of recording some new podcasts. I have some great stuff coming to you guys, and I'm super pumped. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about franchise marketing and how to make the most of your local expos and networking, right? So this doesn't necessarily have to be limited to franchise marketing in a sense, but this is what we focus on here at Visions2images. So a lot of times, people, I always tell people you need to network. You can't put all of your eggs in one basket. You can't just think that social media is going to do the work for you. It's just not feasible. And, same thing with your email, right? We need all of these things to flow together in order for our marketing and business to be successful and grow. I'm a part of so many networking groups, right? And it's always a constant battle. Which ones do I pick? Which ones do I choose? Which expos should I be in? Which ones should I do? And there's just always constant battle as a business owner because our time is valuable, for one. And for two, we want to make sure that we get a bang for our buck, right? Like, we don't want to get something that's expensive, like a booth or something, and it's not going to be beneficial in the long run. So you really have to kind of understand who your audience is. Like I always tell you each and every week, knowing who your audience is so that you can target those people. So I'm going to chat with you guys a little bit about all the different kind of things that I've learned and have taken with me to really be able to grow my business, not only virtually, but in person as well, right? Because the two go together anyways. So everybody always asks me, I actually had somebody the other day ask me, which networking groups should I be attending? How do I know which ones to attend? I have 5 franchises and I don't even know which ones I should be attending, right? Like, we're one person sometimes and we have to be able to really justify which ones we're going to attend to. So you want to choose the right events, right? That's the first and foremost thing, whether that is expos or networking, etc. Since the pandemic has hit, there has been a lot of transformation in how people network. And, you can go to virtual events, you can go to in-person events, you can do so many more things now. But at the end of the day, we still need to choose the right event, right? So it depends on what your goal is of the event, right? Do we want to connect with people? Do we want to grow? Or do we want to share, right? So there's kind of those 3 different pieces, right? I always want to share. So I want to get talking and speaking engagements or be able to share my business with a group of people, right? That's that kind of way to think about it. If you want to grow, then I would highly encourage, doing paid ads through a chamber, doing vendor and sponsorship levels through different things. But if you just want to kind of connect, then looking for those networking events and getting to know people is so basic and generic, but you still need to have the way in, right? So I always start with a chamber of commerce. I always start with people. I ask people, hey, where are you attending? What are you attending? Is there a cost, right? Who goes to these events? I really just kind of talk to people to find out those things and how I can really beneficial. I have a list, probably 3 to 4 pages long, of all these networking events that I've attended, AKA the groups. And I go in there like once or twice a month and kind of look at, okay, who's hosting events? What are they hosting? Is it going to be beneficial? Have I gone to it before? Have I gotten sales from it? Have I gotten leads from it? What came out of it? Did I connect with new people that could be a client? Or did I connect with people who were geared towards friendships? So I go through this list at least once a month, if not twice a month. Lately, it's only been once a month just because of the pandemic. There's still issues with all of these networking things, in person and mask mandates and all this crazy stuff. But I look at it at least once a month and I say, okay, which ones do I want to attend? And which ones cost money? Which ones don't cost money? Can I fill it into my schedule or is it just not feasible? Right. And a lot of times, virtual can be good for networking and stuff, but I always love in person. There's just nothing like in person. And I feel like with virtual, you don't always get the best bang for your buck, so to speak, right? Like virtual is harder to really connect with somebody on any level, period. Hey there, I want to interrupt this episode with a quick message. If you're listening to this podcast episode and want to learn about branding your franchise or small business, then go to brandingbridge.com. That's branding-bridge.com. The second thing, when you kind of have that stuff narrowed down, which events you want to choose and all of that, you want to prepare in advance, right? So you want to make sure that you know who might be attending. You can find out in advance typically, who's attending if you have friends going. But a lot of times like larger events and things like that, like they'll kind of give you a heads up of who's attending, who's sponsoring, who's doing all of these things. And, you can kind of get a way in as to who is attending so that you can understand, okay, do I want to connect with this person? You also want to know kind of your elevator speech, authority statement. You want to go in confident talking about who you are and what you do and how you help people serve. A lot of times at networking events, you don't have time to sit down and talk for like 15, 20, 30 minutes to each person, right? So it's quick and it's important. There's this great feature on LinkedIn too, by the way, where if you're nearby somebody, you can connect with them nearby. And then that's a way into their social world, so to speak, so that you can connect with them later on a different level, right? So I always tell people, give them a business card, connect with them on LinkedIn, do something when you're there in person. And this kind of jumps into number 3 as well. So, attend the event and go alone. So when you go to an event, you want to make sure that you can connect with people who are ideal for you, whether that is those 3 things that I talked about, growing, connecting, or sponsoring, all those pieces, right? So you want to make sure that you have that. So when you're there connecting with people, you really want to find a way to just connect with them and, keep in mind something special and unique about them. So when you do the follow-up at the end, you can really have something personalized for them. I always say go alone for number 3 because I feel like me personally, if I bring a friend or if I bring somebody else, it's not that it's harder to do, but you get distracted, right? You're going to be distracted. You're going to want to hang out with your friends. You're going to want to be chatting and you're not going to be focused on the power of the networking that can happen. So always make sure, if you go with friends and colleagues and stuff like that, like, oh, I'm all for it. But make sure like you really focus in on the goal and the mission of why you went to this event, why you did it, whatever event it is, whether it's a trade show, whether it's a convention, whether it's just everyday networking, focus in on those goals so that you can really develop something from this networking and get a bang for your buck, because that's at the end of the day what we want. And it's not going to happen quickly all the time, right? Like we have to build connections and relationships every single day. It's what makes the world go round. When you have somebody that you first meet, it could take them 3 months, 4 months, 5 months before they become a client, before they send a referral, before they do all of these things. But that's why number 5, the follow-up is so important. So before I talk about follow-up, let's talk about number 4. So listening is so important. Okay. It doesn't matter what you're doing, right? It doesn't matter if you're at a convention, a trade show, a network. It does not matter. If you are not listening to the other person, it's a waste. Again, because you want to follow up with them and you want to have that personalization. So if you can't take something away from them and they can't take something away from you, then there's no point in any networking. It doesn't matter if it's business to business. It doesn't matter if you're going to get sales from them at the end of the day. What matters is how you connect with somebody and what you bring to the table and what they're bringing to the table, right? Like there's a million marketing agencies. There's a million insurance agencies. There's a million of every category, right? But what can you really talk about and be authentic and true to yourself about? So that's like a big takeaway, right? Like number 4 is huge because if you're not getting that takeaway, number 5 is going to be seriously near impossible. So I love number 5. Number 5, I say I love number 5, but it's one of those things, following up, right? So we met somebody at a networking event, we met somebody at a conference, a convention. whatever it is. We met somebody and we really liked their vibe, we really liked their service, and we really understood them. So now what do we do? Did we connect with them on LinkedIn? Did we connect with them on other social media platforms? Did we check out their website? What can we do to really create a great relationship? Because at the end of the day, if we can't create a great relationship, there's just not going to be anything, and it was a waste, period. I hate to say that, but that's the truth, right? So how do you follow up? You can follow up through LinkedIn Messenger. You can send a text message. You can send an email. My biggest thing is I always send emails, right? Because I feel like emails are professional. They're not going to get lost. They're not going to get bombarded. Sometimes I will start the conversation in LinkedIn and then get their email and go from there. I hardly ever do text unless they are a client of mine because it's just not feasible at first, right? So I usually start off by saying, hey, it was great to meet you. I liked talking about XYZ. Would you be interested in hopping on a call to get the conversation going based on XYZ, right? Simple, easy, period. However, you really have to know what to say to these people because they don't want just somebody that's going to say, hey, it was great to meet you. Let's connect. Let's get on a call, right? We have to bring in that number 4 of listening. What did we talk about? How can we relate to it? What did we like to talk about? Because if it's just a canned email, chances are they're probably not going to read it and reply. That's just the nature of the game, right? Like if we just get a canned email, we're not going to read it, period. It's proven data. So when you have that follow-up, you want to make sure, like I said, you're connected on other social media platforms with them. You are checking out their page, checking out their website, really kind of getting to know their business and or them on another level so that you can take it to that next level. And that next level is obviously getting on a call. And then from there, building in either referrals, sales, connections, growth, anything like that. If you are a part of an expo or convention and you're trying to get the most out of it, I would highly encourage your marketing to be on point 1,000 times. Thank you, everybody, for listening in on today's Brand Clarity episode with Susie Liberatore. 2 things. First and foremost, please, if you liked this episode, please subscribe and leave some positive reviews. Also, don't forget to sign up for Stop Sending Your Customers to the Competition and get my insider secrets to compelling branding that converts. You can find that at branding-bridge.com. It's a free workbook for you to check out right now, all of the branding techniques and strategies that I use for my paying clients.